calm down. He's like, hi, welcome to Sound and Fury Book Reviews, Proust Edition. I'm Tina, and this is Book 3, Part 3, so page 203 to 304 in my version of the Guermantes Way. Nothing happened this week in my life. I'm not sure when Proust Reflections turned into weekly updates on my boring life, but whatever. I registered my toddler in JK for September, so now I feel very old and sad. No, it's fine, it's good. Anyway, I mean, that's really all that happened. I mean, whatever. Marcel, our dear Marcel, this week, he starts this part by running into that guy Legrandin again, and then he goes with RSL, Robert St. Loup, of course, to meet this mistress that we've heard so much about. Turns out she is one of the sex workers mentioned in Budding Grove, Rachel. That makes me wonder again how old Marcel is. Like, what age did he start going to brothels? This age thing is driving me absolutely crazy. I'm like, how old is this kid? Like, is he 17? Is he 20? Like, I don't know. Anyway, Marcel annoyed me in this book. He's been annoying me this whole book, actually. I thought he was fine in the, in the last two books, but this one he's just like, I'm like, what's your problem? He makes a bunch of really insulting comments about Rachel, about how Robert has, paid like $1 million to have what Marcel could have gotten for like $5, I guess, if you know what I mean. He doesn't realize, I guess, that there's more to Rachel than her body parts. Maybe Robert likes her personality. I mean, if Robert wanted to sleep with Rachel, he probably could have just paid her since she is a sex worker, but he wants to be in a relationship with her, Marcel. Like, he wants to buy her stuff because he has feelings for her, not because he's paying her to be his escort. And I mean, Marcel, what's his problem? He's a creepy stalker. Like, is he jealous? Maybe. Anyway, he assumes that Rachel's only being nice to Robert because he buys her stuff. Granted, we do learn later that Rachel is a bit of a jerk, but Marcel doesn't know this now when he first meets her. He seems to think that because she's a sex worker all the time, and he's so judgmental about her life, and it drives me absolutely bonkers that he's being such a jerk to Rachel, because really, what is he to judge? He lives in his fancy house with his servants and stuff. Like, give me a break. He's never worked a day in his life. He can't even get off his butt to write his books. So I have no sympathy for Marcel. Anyway, they go to dinner. Robert is all annoyed because Rachel is making eyes at other dudes, apparently. And then they make up and drink some champagne. And then they go to the theater. Not the fancy theater, but it's like a kind of a smaller, I guess, theater for up-and-coming actors and actresses. Rachel is revealed to be a complete bully at this point, where she heckles another actress, gets her kicked off the stage just because I guess she's a jerk. I don't know. We have no backstory for why this is happening. It's just, I don't know, an insight into Rachel's behavior, I guess, or is it supposed to be a comment on the fickleness of the theater? I don't know. I was just like, Rachel, come on. Like, that's really quite mean. Anyway, then Rachel flirts with this actor, and Robert gets furious. He gets so angry. They have an argument about an expensive necklace that he bought her, and finally she was like, keep your stupid necklace, I don't care. And I was kind of like, as much as I don't like her, I'm kind of like, yeah, girl, tell him. And then Robert gets really mad, and so he slaps a journalist who won't put out his cigar. So the cigar, he smoked a cigar in a place where you're allowed to smoke cigars, and Marcel's like, and so Robert's like, put that out, you're killing my friend, he's going to die because of you. And the journalist is like, calm down. He's like, psh. And then they go outside, and he's propositioned by, I think it's a male sex worker, it might have just been a dude, and he beats him up. Not cool. Robert, you're no longer my book boyfriend. That was not a cool thing to do. And then we jump to hanging out with Madame Villeparisis again. She was ousted from good society, that we learn, for all the stuff she did in her youth. Like, are these memoirs of hers based on a real person? I looked it up, and I don't think so. But I'd like to get more of the gossip about what she did in her youth and her, her tarty ways. We also learn how the Dreyfus case has been affecting Block, how he basically disguises his heritage, which is awful. I don't like him very much, but I feel really bad for him, and no one should have to do that because of racist other people, and it's terrible. They go to a party. It's quite boring. It sounds like the most boring party I've ever been to, and I've been to some boring parties. I've been to some really good parties, but I've also been to some boring parties. But none of the parties that I've been to involve us watching someone else paint a picture. Whatever. These people don't have anything else to do with their time, I guess. The Duchess of Guermantes shows up, and Marcella's like, "Oh, be still, my heart," basically. And she's mean as hell. She's mean. Like, oh my god, she's like a catty, word. There's this guy named Pierre, a historian, who's an idiot. I'm assuming it's for laughs. It's like he's a historian that knows everything about history, but he doesn't know anything about modern life. I mean, that was actually kind of fun. Bloch embarrasses himself. Mr. Norpois shows up, and so does the Duke of Guermantes, whom we're told is really hot. Good for him. That's all I kind of got through. Like, really. I mean, there was some exciting stuff, but it was more stuff that made me, like, not like anybody in the book. Except for Madame Villeparisis. I'm cool with her because she's got some sordid past that I'd love to learn more about. There's some cool moments, though. There's a part where when he's talking to Legrandin at the start, and Legrandin says, "I belong to a different planet." I feel you. I feel you sometimes, Legrandin. There is some LGBTQ representation. At one point, Rachel, when she's flirting with that actor, she's like, "I'm sure I could have a wonderful time with you and a girl that I know." I was like, "Oh, this is good." But given that it's Rachel saying it, Rachel who is clearly vilified for her profession and for being a heckler, I'm not sure if it's to show that she's a debased person. I'm not really sure that this is a positive representation here. Or if it's just something that happened. I'm not really sure. I'd have to read more about Rachel and about the rest of the book to kind of make that determination. But it was nice to see acknowledgement. He talks about Wells's Invisible Man, the book, from 1897. So that means this book is at least post-1897. I mean, we know it is because of the Dreyfus trial as well, but it's kind of cool that Proust doesn't tell you the exact year that stuff is going on, because you kind of have to figure it out from like these little allusions that he makes. So that's kind of fun. I kind of like that. He talks about the bluestockings. Well, he doesn't, but like people refer to the bluestockings as an insult, I'm assuming, even though I looked it up on Wikipedia because I didn't know what this was. A bluestocking is an educated intellectual woman, originally a member of the 18th century Bluestocking Society from England. And the term more broadly applies to a woman who shows interest in literary or intellectual matters. And the term later developed negative implications and is now often used in a derogatory manner. Of course it did. Can't have any smart women running around, making the dudes feel inferior. Like, seriously, patriarchy, calm your nuts. Like, you know what? I'm going to take it back. I'm going to claim myself as a bluestocking because I'm interested in literature and I'm fairly educated and intellectual. I'm taking it back. There's no quotes this week because everyone's a dick. There's one picture. It is the Fruit and Flowers by Jan van Huysum. It says the date is before 1726, so it's obviously not the painting that Villeparisis is doing, but I'm assuming it's based on this. It's a nice painting. I wouldn't hang it in my house. It's a bit too, like, grandma for me, but it's better than, like, a bunch of Jesuses, which is what we get a lot. That's it for this week. Let's see if everyone continues being an ass next week. Maybe Robert will redeem himself in my eyes, though it would take a lot to come back from that. And maybe we'll get to know more about Madame Villeparisis and her sordid past. Ooh.